All right. You're listening to the Brolic on the All Things Broke Network.
as as uh as I was saying pre-intro, King Arthur Flower Company,
Yeah.
a gift from God. I don't know if you had these as a kid,
Uh-huh.
but I did. They were called toaster cakes. They were previously manufactured by Thomas.
Yes, I know Thomas quite well.
You must those Judases,
Yeah,
uh,
Judas.
because they no longer manufacture toaster cakes to the best of my understanding, or they do, but they're very hard to find, and they're not where I am or
I
anywhere
think
else
I
I've lived.
I think I do remember those. Wait, there's the one with the ridges.
It's
And
not
then
an
there's
English muffin, but it's close, and it's mostly cornmeal.
yes.
It's like a lot of cornmeal
I
and
like cornmeal.
flour just mixed together. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, delicious. And so you can find them online sparingly, and it's like $20 for a pack of two of these things. I mean, two packs of six, but still, $10 per package is an awfully that beats California inflation any day of the week. Our eggs aren't that expensive out here,
Yeah. Oh
so
fuck, sorry. My
fucking
my audio dropped out here for a second. It
oh,
was
lovely.
yeah, the
Technical
FBI was
issues.
hearing about our plans to revive Thomas.
It's our plans to revive toaster. No, Thomas is alive and well, but their toaster cakes are
Oh, but
not.
the
Anyway,
toaster cakes are not.
anyway, my point is King King Arthur Flower right back out here with the recipe for a nice solid little toaster corn cake. So
So
God,
so you wanna
God bless them.
get the market now, is what you're saying.
I'm saying I could, and I'm saying that if I did, Thomas better watch out. They better
Yeah, Thomas sounds like Thomas
if
better
Thomas
look
doesn't
out.
start sponsoring
Alright,
this
I'm just
show,
gonna I'm
we're gonna have an
free
issue.
I'm gonna free ear it. It's at
The
this point it's
headphones
just
are
in my
off,
way.
boys. He's gone rogue.
Yeah.
He's free eagling it.
So yeah, no, it makes great pasta. It really does.
I got to get my hands on their semolina. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a New York history podcast.
It is not about flour, typically.
No, though one day it might be. I'm sure there's some Italian in Brooklyn who had a flour empire that involved the mob, and I'm sure that story could be told.
If we get that Thomas sponsorship, it's going to be your show about flour. I'll tell you that right now. King Arthur, hit me up.
Yeah. So this is a New York story history podcast where I, writer of the Triflin, authority of the Triflin, in fact.
Wow.
Wildcat parent, read a story to my motherfucking cousin.
Chris, who has no idea what the story is going to be about. And you
Yes.
forgot to say your name again. This is Evan, everyone.
Oh yeah, because I talked so much about the other thing. I keep
Yeah,
forgetting
you,
at the end
you,
of that
you
comes
never
the
first of
finish.
all, I'd love to know what makes you an authority on the Triflin as opposed to the Metropolitan Triflin Authority itself.
I no, as a writer, I am the authority.
Yeah,
They should have listened to me.
you're at the mercy. You're at the mercy of the authority.
Yeah,
You're
it shouldn't
no
be
one
that
to
way. We are the authority. The fuckers who have to spend $2.75 to get, yelled at by a man
No
in bird
one-
feathers every spray.
Some motherfucker with a saxophone's gonna get up in my face every morning. Makes me authority on something. I don't know what it is. So.
So yeah, I mean, the thing about cooking, the thing about using flour.
Let's get back into it. Fuck the story.
It gets messy. You need the counter space, and New York apartments do not have the counter space.
No, it's true. It's true. Even out here, I'm not getting up to show you this, so fucking whatever. You're gonna have to believe me. I mean, you've seen my apartment, but I even got a new little workbench set up because the kitchen room is wide, but the kitchen itself only occupies half that room, and then the rest is just a blank space they expect you to turn into some kind of fucked up little dining room or some shit like that, which I'm not doing because I'm a previously single male. I don't have a designated eating area besides a couch. That's ridiculous. So I bought like a rolling island to put in here to give myself more counter space. And I gotta tell you, as someone who's been using a lot of flour recently, it does not fucking help that much.
For second tier, because I tried to get this back. All right, we're back now. We're back.
And you're back.
All right. I mean, between King Arthur and Thomas, someone's not wanting us to be involved in these flower DMs.
They don't want to see us succeed.
No, they don't want us to be great.
They don't want us to have the mill. The only mill they want to see us on is the sawmill.
I know. The basic mill. So, yeah, what I was gonna say is that, I mean, I would make pasta more if it wasn't for that. I mean, the counter space that I have is almost the size of my desk at Lehman.
Yep.
The counter space I have is almost size, and that's without the Epson printer smack in the middle. or I'm sorry, HP, because we're not in that era.
I was like, just when I couldn't get any worse, it had to be Hewlett goddamn Packard.
I'm sure there's a dollop about that somewhere. So yeah, we're brought to you by once again absolutely nothing liked what we did.
Again, Thomas get in there.
Yeah, and they're yeah, I mean Thomas should really sponsor us too, but
hit me
I
up.
don't know.
I'm willing to talk about toaster cakes all day long and things that they do actually sell.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We all have a price.
I know the authority of the trifling things. I have a price. They're clearly lowballing me. They've been doing that for some time now.
No one in the upper echelons of the MTA uses public transit to get to work. I'm convinced.
Exactly that as well. Unless
they're
it's a
driving their
photo
fucking
op.
Mercedes.
Right. Unless it's a photo op and they get off at one stop and they have bodyguards, so no one's slinging dung at them at fucking 9:30 a.m.
That's that shit. I'm telling you, even out here, the fact that you probably can't use public transit to get to your job as a BART employee in the Bay Area,
it's
insane, right?
All right.
Anyway, let's give the people what they showed up for. This almost regressed into two assholes riffing like every other fucking podcast out there.
I know.
Sorry, folks. I'm usually better than this, but not by much.
No, it's fine. I was gonna say. Oh yeah. Just for not copyright infringement, right? So yeah, we're brought to you here by Absolutely Nothing, not related to the Absolute Vodka. Just here, Absolutely Nothing said, "Hey, we still see you're broke. We still see you're on the broke network. Let's continue to give you nothing." And yeah, that's why we're still here. And
in fact, no one said that, and so we are broker than broke.
Yes. We're fucking negative space.
We're an unknown.
Yeah. Yeah, we're fucking Donald Rumsfelden out here.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is though inspired by something that was actually successful called The Dollop by Dave Anthony and Gareth Reynolds. So we're the unofficial New York extension because there's so many stories here that simply they cannot get to because they're going into fucking mincemeat pie in the fucking 1800s. So they're gonna skip what happened in the South Bronx in the in the early 2000s when we were out here wearing FUBU and Jinko jeans. It's just there's going to be certain things of that period that we just said, all right, we got to scrape
for a second there. Wow.
Almost a personal attack.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. The Jinko shorts that were almost jeans.
Now, I mean, depending how tall you are, they are basically both.
Yep.
All right. August 1991. Year of our Lord.
Not a good year.
Jesus Christ. We're going to need him today. Santos Rosario.
He can't help us.
Was born. What happened?
He can't help us.
No, Jesus Cristo cannot right now. Santos Rosario was born in the Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. Didn't ring a bell yet?
I want to say that
I thought
sounds.
this would happen differently.
I want to say that sounds very, very familiar.
Okay.
Public official. No.
No. All right, I thought this was gonna go a little different. We may edit this. Santos? You don't remember Santos?
Your friend Santos?
Yes.
I didn't. I haven't spoken to a motherfucker in 21 years. I didn't remember his last name.
But you know his first name. I thought you might. All right.
Oh
right,
God,
anyway.
this fucking story.
Oh wait, so you do know about it?
We had a conversation about this at length. All right,
We did.
we are.
Okay, I forgot.
If
forgot
it's a
that
story
we
I'm
did.
thinking of, then yes, I do know it, and it's not a fucking happy one. This is gonna. Oh man. All right, sorry. This is. We should redo the intro. I'm Chris, and I do know a little bit about this story, and it's. Don't worry, it's fucked.
Oh my god. All right. Yeah. No, I thought you were gonna realize it at first. So I was like gonna have like all this part when you were like, wait, oh shit, but it's okay. That's fine. This is still good.
I didn't remember the guy's last name because I haven't spoken to him in more than 15 fucking years. You can't fault me for that.
I didn't know you knew of another Santos.
I don't.
You don't exactly.
Why would I? I had all of 1.3 conversations with this one.
No, he came over a few times. All right, it's fine. All right, where's? Damn it.
I mean, I miss him. Hit me up.
Yeah.
He was a king.
Yeah, he was balling. I'm trying to find him. Hold on. Yeah, we're gonna edit this part out. I was looking for here in my copious. I took copious notes because it was the only way to take notes from this fucking catastrophe. All right.
We're gonna edit this part out after I. Fuck.
Who the hell is his father?
Your
It went black.
your audio just cut out so fucking hard as you were yelling. Now I think you have to leave it in.
All right. So we're only 2 minutes in to the actual version of
Yeah,
this.
for sure. We're only 2 minutes in.
Okay. All right. So 1991. Santos Rosario.
Santos.
Yes, the one from that we knew from my middle school days was
Our
born-
Santos. Holy shit.
Yes, yeah, that not an elected official. The
I
one
have
we
no
knew
idea
as-
why you would
as-
suggest that.
I don't know either.
You're crazy.
So, was born to Santos Rosario Sr. and Maritzia Rosario, Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, I believe. I know. One day I'm gonna confirm. So this is a different type of Brolic because I know the main subject. I went to school with him, this is going to be a bit of a broader story, an interpersonal story, where your boy even makes a cameo along with other people that I know throughout the happenings of this saga. And a saga it truly is.
It is.
So I'm just going by what I remember of him because I can't exactly contact him right now, and you'll understand a little later why that might be a little difficult. So Santos was born in the Bronx like I was. He went to middle school with me in PS 95. Very smart kid. He was the only other kid in the 6th grade to have a mustache. So we already bonded over this.
You poor motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, it was just me and like we knew we were gonna be just partners in the struggle of being 6th graders with a fucking mustache.
But you know what? I think I had probably a mustache made out of zits. So
Okay, so we all had some. All right, so we all had some type of mustache, but We were
You're like, oh, you guys are getting older, and kids in my school are like, oh, your face is fucking disgusting. I don't know if it's the same.
They didn't really. I don't know if they thought we were necessarily getting older. I just felt like, there was a certain time where like all kids in a New York City public school, there was always those few kids that just had. I called it the puberty stash because it was
Oh,
the
yes,
the
definitely.
mustache hair was not like what a real mustache is. It's just like this light felt fucking cat hair
It's
type
it's
shit.
it's just the most unfortunate thing you can choose to display to the world, really.
I know. It's better to shave the goddamn thing off. But we found it to be somewhat a source of pride. We really didn't know. So I just, he and I just rolled with it. He was a very good student. He sometimes was a little bit on the quieter side, but that's only to the people, the people he didn't know well. Around me, around some of my other friends, which I'll just call one R and one D. And we were kind of like just a squad of four, and we would hang out after school, we would go to the movies, we would play baseball, uh, and we just stayed friends just all the way through middle school. And we weren't like any sort of like clique or anything. We were like a bunch of, we were an Albanian, a Dominican, a French African, and then me, Italian, Israeli, and we all learned Spanish.
Okay, well, what
So
the NYPD is hearing here is that we had a little mustache gang on our hands here. Okay,
that's what they're hearing. They're
so now you're
hearing,
on the list. So congratulations, bud.
yeah, I mean, uh, he was not with me the first time I was stopped and frisked, and that was also the same time that McNally decided to put the fucking bullhorn in our ear from 2.5 feet away. Um, but no, we didn't get in much trouble. He excelled at many subjects. He was just a very reliable, supportive friend who I knew was going to go on to do many things. Now, high school was not as Santos went to Horace Mann High School, which was a very prestigious, very expensive high school in Riverdale, and he got in on a scholarship, and he made some friends there, but he didn't have the same connections that he necessarily had back back at middle school. He and I continued to stay friends. He remained a good friend throughout high school. And then starts, the true beginning of this story when Santos decides to apply to and enroll in Sarah Lawrence College, which is in Westchester, the Bronxville area of New York. So,
Side note, because I haven't had a joke in a little while.
mhm.
Don't fucking go to Bronxville. Just in general, don't. Like, if you applied, if you're listening to, if we have a listener, and you happen to be
Yeah,
applying to college, and you get into Sarah Lawrence, good for you. Go to Bronxville, I guess. Everybody else, just stay the fuck away from Bronxville. There's
yeah.
absolutely nothing there.
There's a hospital.
Great.
There's just Lawrence. That's about the extent of it for your surviving through Bronxville. There is
Of
a
all the
hospital.
of all the places in New York that were not New York City that tortured me with absolute boredom, nearly beyond measure,
Hmm.
Bronxville really takes the fucking cake.
Yeah, I mean, I think I only went there a few times. Bronxville also home of I believe or adjacent to home of New York Yankee Harrison Bader. So there is a local boy playing for the Yankees. So he made it out. Made it out the Ville. Um,
Yeah.
so there's something called a Sarah Lawrence bubble, which so I have a family member, another who I won't name, but who she went to Sarah Lawrence as well, and she talked about it too. That it's a liberal arts college, very, very liberal, very, very left. It looks like it's not like 20 minutes away from New York City. It is, but it's just you really feel like some parts of California, I'm sure, kind of feel like this, where the views and the views. I don't just mean scenic views. It is a beautiful campus, but the views of those around you. are almost so insulated, even if they're for mostly good things, good concepts, that it's like you kind of forget how much of the world doesn't see things this way.
Sure.
I mean, there was I forgot there was a joke about sports here somewhere. I just added to you know like they had like Division 3 intramural. I mean that's like the highest like the sports even got here. I
Sure.
like this was just a reading, writing, poetry, hippie type school that was mostly female with some men, and even fewer heterosexual men. Nothing wrong with that. Just saying that this is the environment that it was, and it was very, very white.
Okay.
So you go
Okay.
20 minutes away, you are in a much different type of area. So Santos, who grew up with me in the Bronx and was born in DR, he goes from Horace Mann, where he's one of the only Dominican people there, to Sarah Lawrence, where he's also one of the only Dominican people there. And in both cases, surrounded by very, very privileged white people. Sarah Lawrence, very expensive school. It's on
Sure.
par with an Ivy League school. It may not be a part of like the quote unquote official Ivies, but it is on par with
I
an
was
Ivy
going for
League.
communications and then decided to get my doctorates in poetry.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know, you can do that when your father's the hedge fund manager. You can study philosophy.
Yeah. Right.
You could do shit like that.
Right. The educational world is your oyster, which it is not for pretty much anybody else.
Right. And like that's why Santos wasn't going. Santos again, he got a scholarship. Like he wasn't going. Like his parents can't pay $50,000. They're lower working class, like most of us grew up. So yes, there's a Sarah Lawrence bubble here. So Santos lives in a dorm. So funny story. Actually, I'll get to that in a second. So
Okay.
Santos lives in a dorm with his friends. We're gonna get into some of these characters later. This is gonna center around Santos, much like some of the other works about this did. But there's other people here: Gabe, Dan, Raven, Max, Claudia, Juliana.
Now, Raven is an extremely strong name.
It
That's
is.
that's an opinionated name right there.
Well, she is one of the, in a good way, one of the strongest characters, and you'll see why.
That's great
Uh,
because
yeah,
it doesn't work out that well when you name a guy a very opinionated name. When white people
it's true.
give their kids strongly opinionated names,
Yes.
like you name your kid Forrest, man, you have doomed that kid to a lifetime of bullying.
A lifetime of bullying, and he may throw a few people in the forest at some point later on in life. Like a black guy named Forrest Whitaker wins I was gonna say a Grammy, wins an Oscar. A white dude named Forrest, I got reservations. So
It's just one of those names that it doesn't attract a lot of great attention. Look, as a Chris,
Mhm.
I can tell you I often wish I had a name that 40 other people in my school didn't have.
But it's harder to get bullied for it.
No one's talking shit about my name. There's a lot of they
Right.
had a lot of things to pick from, right? And no one's picking on me for having a name like Forrest. And kids are ruthless. So I'm just saying you're setting them up for success with a name like
I know.
that.
It's a tough.
Plus, if you and I got into this conversation a couple of weeks ago, but
Yeah.
this idea of nominative determinism, right? That a given name determines what a person will do with their lives or the trajectory of their life overall. You name your kid Victor, they win shit, right? Like I think the CEO of Aston Martin, his name is Victor. If you name if your last name
like Victory.
if your last name is Crapper, yeah, you invent a toilet, right? That's who invented the fucking toilet. It's whatever. You name your kid Forrest. What's the nominative determinism there? He's going to go become a fucking tree. He's going to be a. we don't need him. We don't need him. You know,
Sure.
we don't need him otherkinning into a birch or something like that.
He's got to be a forest ranger. Got to be.
I mean, if you listen to me, if your name is, I'm a big X-Files fan. If you name your kid Fox and they don't become a naturalist, something's wrong. The fact that this guy in this show ended up at the FBI, and his name wasn't like Chad McPowerson or some shit like that, Gunny Mashooterson, please. Anyway, that's my rant.
I mean, I think it is true. But you're gonna hear a lot of names with odd nominative determinism in Sarah Lawrence.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure.
because we're kind of finding the cream of the crop here. Um, so Santos lived and Talia, his girlfriend, and I met Santos at one point when he was dating Talia, and they all live in this place called the Slonim Hall Woods. So were there to be a forest among them, he would have been in the woods. So I don't know what that would have meant for a Mr. Forest, but no Forest has entered the chat yet.
That's phenomenal. Honestly, I know a little
I'm
bit
sure
about this
there's
story.
others. Yeah.
I know a little bit about this story, and I don't think we need a nominative deterministic forest in the chat. I think this story is crazy enough as it is.
I'm disappointed I told you this. I should have never told you this story. Because
Oh,
if I hadn't told you the story, it would have been so much more the natural reaction that I had when I read this in February 2020, going, "What the fuck is going on?"
forget most of the details, and I have no doubt that it's going to sound fucking insane to me again. So
When I
let's
was
let's
when I
go.
read this thing,
I'm sure as I was reading this, I was very fucking drunk because there was no other way of getting through it. So I probably forget half of it. Let's go.
so all right. Um So Santos meets Talia, who, like I said, I remember him saying he was much in love with her when I did meet him. I think we met. This was the last time I had Uno's pizza. I know it's random, but that's the last
Listen,
time I had Uno's pizza
and
was
that's
when
a
I met
bad time.
Santos.
The last time I had Uno's pizza, I was 8 years old, and I did that meme where I stood in the doorway and I was like, "Mom, I don't feel so good," and then I threw up in her bedroom. She was like, "Honey, could you not just go back to she was like, Jesus Christ, like that."
It was
I woke up the dog. Sorry, bud.
we saw Black Swan, I think. We saw a movie, and then we got Uno.
Now, if there was ever a movie that you didn't because I haven't seen it, but I know there's a couple of Black Swan, but you got to white knuckle it through some of those
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah. So
And
it was
that's not exactly the movie you want. Deep dish sausage going working its way through your digestive tract.
we ate after. We
Thank
ate after.
God.
Yeah, we ate after. So all right, so he meets Talia in Egyptian. I'm sorry, I know I wrote this class down wrong because this is a wild class. This is a real class. Egyptian, Caesar, Roman literature. I
Now
mean,
that
Caesar and Roman make sense, but where
just all the Egypt in there. There's just occasional hieroglyphics.
yeah, so Egypt did okay.
Okay,
So
and in fairness, that does sound like the most Sarah Lawrence class I've ever heard of.
it probably is. So one of them said they smiled at the other, and they were debating who smiled at who first. Anyway, Santos, and this is the guy who I know would have never done this in middle school, in high school, but he said he got up and he laid down some bars, to Talia, and
Egyptian?
they started dating from there.
Hell yeah. In Egyptian?
In in Egyptian. Maybe that's what did it. Maybe he wrote her a love note in hieroglyphics. I don't know, but he wasn't the type to do that before, and I was like, yeah, go man, this is development. Like he never would have done that before when I knew him, and he said he didn't do it before when I heard him speak about this. So that's how they meet through this act of confidence. So Talia had a mission. Oh yeah, it's his first girlfriend. So yeah, I didn't think he dated much during Horace Man, if at all. So Talia is his first girlfriend. She had a mission to become a lawyer. Um, wanted to be like her dad. She would talk about her dad, Larry, uh, at parties and how, amazing life story that the man had. And Santos was a great listener. So she would listen to all of her stories, Larry's stories through Talia, her aspirations to be a lawyer, her background growing up with someone who was very much a connected individual. Um, so she characterized her dad as a hero. He was parachuting out of places. And he was in jail though for wrong reasons. He was meeting people with like highly classified, so like high security clearances and different levels of government. He was like James Bond.
You don't want to mix you don't want to mix a lot of these things. Look, if your friends, your family have to be like, hey, yeah, he's in jail, but not for the right reasons. Believe them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If if someone you know is like, yeah, I know this guy, he's in jail and he shouldn't be, and also he's like a super well connected CIA official, like super classified, walks around with two 9mm. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, you've
that's
cast a little doubt.
that's a little that story undoes itself.
Yeah, it right, right. So April 2010. Now we're in April 2010. Now here's where I'm gonna add something. So April 2010, Larry, Talia's father, gets out of jail, and they're gonna reunite for the first time in years. In March 2010, guess who's on the premises? Your boy and my friend D, and you know who D is by
I
yeah
sure do.
yeah you know D. Okay, from the Bronx to New Jersey, and then from another country before that. So me and D and I go to Sarah Lawrence in March of 2010, and we meet Santos there. We meet Bronxville. We get reunited. It
So
was
sorry
actually
for you.
it was actually the first time that we tried to get beer. Like I'm not even that. I'm 19. I'm only 2 years away. But the way this country works, but it was the first time we tried to. I remember it was the first time we tried to go to a store and get beer. It was the
Uh huh.
first time I ever did that,
And
and
how
it was
successful
the
was
best.
that?
I forget. I think we did it. I think we did it.
Got in and out of there successfully.
We either did it or there was someone else who was older who did it.
Well,
But it wasn't a.
I know a fucking NSA connected motherfucker who can get you at least 5 cases of beer on his back.
Well, thanks.
I'm
So
sure we're gonna
thankfully,
meet him more.
so thankfully, my point is that Mr. Larry touched down on the premises, and I mean touchdown on the premises in April 2010. I was there a month before, so I was 1 month away
Whew.
from crossing paths with what will be the rest of this tale here. But I met some of the people that Santos ended up rooming with. I met Max. I met Raven. I met Isabella. I did not meet Talia, though I knew of her because they were dating. I think that's everyone I met. I may have met Dan or Gabe for a brief period of time as well. Uh, so it just is funny when I look back at that picture of me and Don and Santos all together in March of 2010, and then I think a month later, everything is gonna fucking go crazy.
Jesus Christ.
And D says that he met Larry at one point as well, but it was afterwards.
Got away with his life.
Yes. So anyway, and I'll say what D said about meeting Larry in a few because it'll make sense. Okay. So in April 2010, Larry gets out of jail. They'll be reunited, but he says his belongings are all gone. I don't exactly know what that means because usually you get your belongings back when you leave jail, the belongings you went in with.
Well, yeah, but you know, if he
Something,
wasn't at home, you know, whatever, all his
maybe
shit got
something
thrown
got
out.
repossessed. Well, you'll see.
Okay.
So he says he's gonna crash on their couch, and this is it. Everything else stems from here. Once the man plops on that couch, this is why this has been the brolicest brolic to ever brolic.
There's just some people you can't let couch surf, man.
So the second that the guy gets on campus, in April of 2010, uh, everybody's says they're transfixed by this man. That he is, he's regaling them with stories of being connected in the military, of being a Marine, of knowing all these important city and government officials, of being a consultant for one. I forget which war. Was it like I forget if it was the
Honestly,
war in Bosnia,
pick
like
one. None of it is good.
the Balkans. It may have been
Not
the
not great.
Balkans.
Not great. Not a great
But
thing. Not a good thing to say.
he takes out like a piece of paper that shows. So I'm like, does he have it with him? Is he just carrying around a piece of paper?
Can I just say, being a really, really interesting person isn't something that needs to be sold. It's like not a great, like this is not a
Right.
good quality to have. You know what I mean? If you live an interesting life, people find you and they ask you about it. If you
Right.
if you got a lot of weird lies under your belt, because I've met people like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know a guy who's exactly like this, and he couldn't stop talking about how lots of people trusted him with like multi-million-dollar projects and shit. And it's like, yeah, well, you're here with us assholes, so whatever, dude. You know?
Yeah, you're a grown ass man on a couch in Bronxville.
So, it makes it sound so much worse.
No. Like how did we go from, being in a fucking chopper like consulting in Kuwait
Doing all
to
you doing all that shit, but man, you can't.
government consulting?
You're so divorced. You're on your daughter's couch in fucking Sarah Lawrence. That's
But here's the thing. So everybody's transfixed. So the second I hear transfixed, I'm already like we've gone too far.
yeah.
Because you could get transfixed by like some great fucking gelato, some great ribs. You can get transfixed by a song, but motherfuckers don't get transfixed by a motherfucker.
It's
Is what
not a
I'm
good
trying to
quality.
say. You don't
It's
get
not a good
transfixed.
quality.
Like I've found beautiful women, like one day in my world I want to marry Padma Lakshmi. It's never gonna happen. But I am not transfixed. But I am not transfixed by the woman. She's a human being who I find an inspirational person and
Yeah.
very attractive. I do not get transfixed by humans.
Yeah, there's I forget which politician it was applied to somewhere in Europe. I'm relatively sure it wasn't Hitler, but he was he was described as having he was described as having this there's this idea of animal magnetism, right? That this idea that you can really just like capture people.
No.
And it wasn't it wasn't described as a good thing. It's not a positive quality to have.
But I'll get into this more later. But this is one of the things that also pissed me off. He's just a guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not fucking Luke Cage.
Matter of fact, he's a guy on a couch.
He's not like people talk about this motherfucker like he's Iron. Like he's not Iron Man. He's not James Bond. Even James Bond is just a guy. He doesn't have powers. Like I think some people just get drawn, and we'll talk about who is susceptible, like how this happened later on. But anyway, so he talks about being in the Marines. He talks about fucking psyops. Like CIA SAPs, whatever the fuck, infiltrating the circle of their top brass. Oh, Kosovo. Okay, here we go. He talked about working with NATO during Kosovo, the crisis there, and he has a piece of paper. He pulls out this letter, and it says on the top, strictly personal and private. This is from Santos actually saying this. It's like, why are you showing it then to co-eds? Like, if fucking the Joint Chiefs of Staff, if like Colin Powell back in the day was like, strictly personal and private, Larry. Don't give this to co-eds at Sarah Lawrence. And he'll say, I won't.
I'm on my way.
I won't touch down in Bronxville.
Straight from the couch.
So it's like, why are you showing this to people? So, okay, so he does this. All right, yeah, strictly personal private. Okay. Yeah, he talks about being Gorbachev's guide. Now, there is an actual picture of him with Gorbachev. That doesn't mean he's his guide in the U.S. He could just be a dude that had a friend who knew Gorbachev or knew a friend of a friend. Like, there's a lot of ways. You know how many people...
Motherfuckers do meet and greets.
Motherfuckers do... You know how many people on my timeline have like met fucking Bill de Blasio. I'm not saying Gorbachev is. I mean, I get it. He was a little higher up than Bill de Blasio, but 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 still, it's like it's not that hard to meet a world leader if you have a connection or two, which Larry seemed to know people who knew people. That is not in itself like that's being
It's damning. And it's
that's
not.
that
Yeah.
yeah, that's just being a New Yorker. That's it. That is being a lifelong New Yorker
That's why I
that
move.
has did any because you're tired of motherfuckers who know someone who knows someone.
I don't know anybody.
Yeah, so fucking he pulls out a picture of him with Gorbit. Like again, it's like you said, who is interest like if I meet when I met fucking Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer of all time, do you think Mariano Rivera was like,
Wow.
and here's my 600th save? It's like, no, we know you got the save, Mo. Like we don't need and here's me
You run
meeting
around, you're like
President Clinton
I
after winning the World
Mariano.
Series.
I got Mariano in my pocket, boys.
Yeah, because I would say exactly. I know I'm Mariano's trainer. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm his
guy.
bullpen. I'm his guy. I'm his guy in Yonkers because I met him at a Yonkers Acura or White Plains. I'm his fucking and W here. All right. That's the bench coach. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's not like Mariano was taking out pictures of Bill Clinton and saying I met Bill Clinton. It's like no.
Sidebar: Acura, please sponsor this show. Thank you.
Yeah, Acura allegedly not unofficial. Anyway, so he's pulling out all these pictures. All right, and fucking so he's pulling. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at my own notes. I'm like, yeah, they also kind of think it's cool because they have D3 intramural poetry slams. So it's like this is the height of the competition at Sarah Lawrence.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're not okay, and this is what I'll get into later. It's like one of the reasons why they're quote unquote transfixes. There are no other Larrys on Sarah Lawrence campus.
No,
right?
I was just gonna say,
There's
yeah.
no one like him
There's
there.
nothing, if you've grown up with that, in an upper. So I grew up in a relatively upper middle class neighborhood, and like, man, ain't nothing interesting going on there. You know what I mean? Like you don't. I mean, yeah, sure, some people know people, but like, it's not like in the day to day life you got people talking about their fucking kill count like it's a COD lobby. You know what I mean? Like,
Fucking taking out dog tags like
there's not a lot of. And I'm not saying that happens in other neighborhoods either. I'm just saying you have a lot more concerns, right? That like in a really privileged neighborhood, really privileged lifestyle. There's not like a shit ton of interesting crap going on. It's not a constant fight for survival. So like this kind of conversation is very out of the blue,
Right. You're going from talking about fucking Margaret Atwood and fucking Langston Hughes to I'm in Kosovo with an M16.
No one's. I imagine no one's bullshit detector is going off because they never. I'm saying no one's ever been exposed to someone slinging this weird shit.
Well,
it's like what you and I had this conversation years ago. Kids in rural areas are super susceptible to drugs, and no one thinks that that's possible, right? But when you grow up, so I was also raised in a somewhat rural area. When you grow up in the middle of fucking nowhere, you don't see that guy at the end of the block every day who's totally spun out on meth, and there's no chance of recovering him and shit. Like you have no fucking idea what heroin can do.
You have no baseline. You have no point.
You
free base because you have no baseline.
So this is how it got started. You know what I mean? So shit. I'm just saying there are parallels here between drugs and some motherfucker named Larry.
Well, he became an addiction. He did. It had almost the drug effect. So like there. Okay, so now he brings up the man that after this I can't fucking stand this guy's name after hearing this because Larry now brings up someone who will be the bane of his existence throughout the rest of the story. Bernie fucking Carrick. Bernard Carrick, who was the former police chief of New York City during, I believe, the 90s, and he went to jail for corruption, and Larry was one of the people who was an informant to the FBI about Bernard Kerik. That part is true. That part is true.
Okay.
He did go to court. He did inform on Kerik's activities of corruption, and Kerik did go to jail for a few years. So he believes that because his testimony helped put him in jail, that ever since then Kerik's been after him. Okay?
All right. That's.
So
I mean.
so
All right.
so that happens.
And to be fair, that's fair.
That
that sounds like a sane thing to be worried about.
that alone, if he was just worried. Now, that being said, I don't go into Sarah Lawrence and go, the fuck is burning? Is he there? Is he in the Slonim woods?
Maybe
Is he in the dorm?
why he was at Sarah Lawrence.
I mean, it's like I'm not going into a liberal arts college to talk about the former police chief of the NYPD being after me. So I'm not saying that he could have said, anybody who testifies against someone and then they get out of jail, obviously you have a reason to worry about yourself. But, you're first of all, there was actually no evidence of that occurring. Like he just was paranoid of the possibility.
Oh,
he's
not getting any he's not getting any SMS messages.
No, it's not like that happened.
It's
not like there's anything corroborated in his mind and he's having these stories, but there's nothing corroborated that Bernie Kerik was actually ever after Larry.
Okay.
He's just paranoid that's going to happen once he's out of jail. He's out of jail because then he believes that Kerik, in retribution, did something that put him in jail. So technically, if he believes that, he already got his revenge. I don't fucking know. But so you have this tough guy, but you also have this guy who's against the prison. I don't know about the prison system at large. I don't know if he's talking about defunding the police and defunding the prison systems, but you kind of have this weird dichotomy of these liberal students, a guy who was wrongfully jailed, who's the father of their friend. So there's kind of already this connection and sympathy there. And he's telling fucking, modern warfare stories. So, he's all of these things together.
Yeah, he's dual wielding stories, if you will.
So Talia didn't seem to tell people her father was going to actually be there for like more than a night, because he's staying there 4 days out of the week.
And man, it's bad enough when it's someone's girlfriend.
Yeah. So Santos.
I can tell you from experience.
Yeah, so Santos' girlfriend's father is in the dorm with him and like 8 other people 4 days out of the week, which at first I'm like, wait, why 4 days?
Yeah.
Like, if you really need a place to stay.
If you need a place to be a majority of the week, you have nowhere to be the other 3 days.
And especially if it's like a consistent 4 out of 3. And then I learned the motherfucker has an apartment on the Upper East Side.
Oh. Wow. So
yeah,
that generally is awful.
So he's just there.
he's like giving them visitation hours for himself.
for his own house.
He's like,
he never.
I could go be on my own, but really the majority of the time, I should be your responsibility. So
yeah,
we really need to share custody of me.
So when I read this, I'm like, is he still Daniel Craig? Like, are we still talking James Bond here? Is Daniel Craig staying on somebody's couch 4 days out of the week when they got a crib on the Upper East Side?
Was his apartment on the Upper East Side also just a couch with a bunch of people who didn't want to have him around?
No,
it's his home place.
No, his apartment on the Upper East Side, allegedly he bought from a friend. That friend will come in later and have a different side of the story. But allegedly
stole the apartment.
But right now it's been in his care for years. Like, he's been able to stay there.
Uh-huh.
So whether or not the acquisition of it
So
was.
it's just different sides of a story of living somewhere where someone doesn't want you.
There's not usually, no, but
there's really only one other story.
there's. But the acquisition may be questionable, but it has been acquired now by Mr. Ray.
Okay.
All right. So he has it's a nice, like, you see it in the documentary. It is a crib. I mean, it is a bachelor pad that he is choosing to not be in 4 days out of the week. All right.
And to choose, of all places, to be at Sarah fucking Lawrence.
Not even like NYU. Not that he should do that. But...
Not that he should do this. Man's 50. But to be
he shouldn't be doing any of this.
To choose that over, like, man, I don't know, go on a skiing trip or something. What if motherfuckers who are 40 do?
Right. So, like,
money.
I get you want to spend time with your daughter, but it's not like your daughter is in the same. It's almost in the same city. Like Bronxville and New York City are very close together.
I'm assuming this guy does not have a spouse at this time. He sounds like the most divorced person on the planet. Which, by the way,
he's been divorced at least twice. He's had at least 2 serious relationships.
That doesn't matter. The quality of divorce I'm talking about is not the attribute of a fact of a person's life.
Yes,
it's different. That's just a thing that happens to people, and it sucks, but you get through it. Being divorced as an attribute of your character is something that you can do without ever really having a relationship with anyone. You don't have to be married to be divorced on a character level.
Yeah, on a character basis, even if not on a legal basis. Yes.
There's a motherfucker I watch, and just today, I watched a guy who, I'm gonna say I've seen this. He's a townie, and he's got a place to live, and I know that I know he's retired and he's got better things to do with his life as well. So I'm saying he's not hurting, right?
Right.
But that doesn't stop him from going around to all the places that he can find with trash cans and finding cans and just flattening them and taking them with him to the store. So that motherfucker is divorced, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes white people just get bored not being shot. Like I'm telling you, sometimes white people are like, why isn't somebody shooting at me? Like, clearly Larry wants someone to shoot at him. It's his fucking life. But it's like, sometimes it's like, this is when I see like all the risky shit white people put themselves through. It's like, life hasn't just dealt you enough excitement of danger. So it's like,
anyone who skis recreationally I just don't think has seen a lot of hardship.
Yeah, I mean, you know how many people die skiing though? It's like a fucking dangerous ass sport. And you're just
don't even get me started on how dumb skiing is. You're telling me you start at the house where the hot chocolate is. You're there. You win. You have it. It's right there. All that's left is to go buy it.
Right.
But then you spend a couple $100 renting skis and getting a pass to go up a fucking mountain to dodge trees and rocks.
Trees
at car speeds to get back to the house where the hot chocolate is. You idiots.
Yes.
I will no, never. Sorry, that's all.
Well, I'm sure Larry had hot chocolate at his crib, and he's going back to Kosovo.
He's going back to motherfucking Kosovo.
You know who I'm sure he's gonna see out there? Steve motherfucking Barnes. Because it's in a man's DNA.
That's right.
It's in a man. We're hunters.
Well, Steve Barnes is looking down upon us all now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. But anyway, at the time,
from that great ski lift in the sky.
The great ski lift in the sky. Rest in peace. But I'm sure Larry at the time. I just feel like these motherfuckers cross paths. Anyway. I'm just glad Steve at least packed his schedule enough that he wasn't fucking couch surfing Colombia. But, so anyway, so it's like, are we thinking this is weird yet? Does anybody think this is weird? Are we thinking it's weird yet?
Yeah, what's the opinion inside the door?
I forgot if it was Dan or Gabe who said, they said, looking back, it's funny, and it is funny when they say, he's like, I'm just mad we didn't have the couch to play Smash Bros. Because you already got like, before Larry's here, there's like 8 motherfuckers in one place.
And
You already have a packed place, so it's like now you got this guy.
To really enjoy. You're living with 7 of your friends, and you got the Wii set up, and you're not playing Smash Bros. Bro, give me a break.
So anyway, so yeah, because what we're not gonna do is separate Talia from her dad, who has apparently, gotten people removed from the CIA. So we're not gonna take his couch. We don't know what memories that will trigger. So he made it seem, or another roommate. We were stoned all the time. This is funny. Reading this is funny. He's on reflecting if this was an odd arrangement. He says, "Well, we were stoned all the time. Is this weird? Am I weird?" Like, like the rationality has been clouded because of some of the drug usage during this time. So he made it.
I mean, no, that's normal.
Yeah.
Being stoned all the time in college is just about the most normal experience there is. I'm pretty sure.
So if there's a guy on your couch half the time, maybe you're not paying as much attention to that. He's fucking 50 years old and an army veteran.
No, that's what I'm saying. See, this is what
CIA.
Nobody knows. Ain't nobody knows. They don't know.
So
they're kids. They're not. They're like what? 19. They don't know.
Yeah.
Jack shit.
This is 1920. I think this is sophomore year. This is our sophomore year.
No one's ever made a good decision before 30.
Yeah. So he was the funny dad of the house. He put on Talia's apron. He kept the kitchen clean. He cooked. He bought dinner. He still couldn't stay anywhere else, which is not true. We find out, but at least I guess that's what they thought.
Sure.
In their mind. So.
Yeah. Well, this suction is weird, but whatever.
So I mean, when you compare that food to the college food that they have there, and he's buying nice stuff, he's taking them out to dinner. And then there's this side of Larry that this is where he really shifts from being just a man who was in the CIA and has an apartment on the Upper East Side on the couch in Bronxville, and believes Bernie Kerik is after him and he's in imminent danger. I guess fuck the rest of them too, right? If Bernie knows where he is, I mean, it's like, yeah, fuck your 8 other friends here. But
yeah, right. Well, why don't we just get everybody fucking shot up?
He's not like in a bunker. He's on a college campus, and social media did exist during this time. It wasn't like Twitter like it is now, but Facebook did exist.
If I thought a corrupt official was after me, you wouldn't find me.
Yeah. So anyway, so now there's this other side of him that's like, and he started giving us advice. He started giving us guidance. He exuded this. You have a problem.
You guys should really go to Kosovo.
Yeah.
You guys really love it in Kosovo. Vacation destination. Here's an AR-15.
He exuded this. You have a problem. Larry has a solution. It's probably in Kosovo. It's probably involves picking up an AR. But yeah, he exuded this. I'm also a believer in. I think that there are some people who give good advice, and I, of course, try to do that. But, for example, I don't know what it's like in Kosovo. So I probably wouldn't give you advice if you had Kosovo-related problems that you needed to bring to me.
Do not contact me with your Kosovo issues. I know nothing of the region.
Larry does seem to, if we're believing his wild stories, he has an interesting background, but it doesn't involve, you have people here from backwoods Texas, you have people here from, suburbia, you have people here like Santos, who's was born Dominican Republic and raised in the Bronx. You have people here who have some problems are very gendered, and of course Larry is, clearly a feminist. So it's like we have things here. Some people are exploring sexuality in college. We have things here that's like maybe Larry's just not.
Maybe he's not perfect. The spice.
Maybe he's not the Venn diagram of it just might not be. This is just like
a circle in one spot and a square somewhere else.
It's a whole other polygon. Yeah. Okay. So, but he's giving people advice. So now Larry does this a little more organized. Motherfucker has house meetings. now's when I'm starting to think. All right, now you're. Even if I'm gonna pretend for a second he doesn't sound insane. Larry could be the sanest motherfucker. You come into my house, and I got to deal with 7 other people, by the way. And you saying I got to have house meetings? It's like you're not here. You don't go here.
See, the thing is that he's motivating college students with the one thing they can't turn down, which is great food.
Yes, he
Food in
is.
general.
And guidance during a time where many people are impressionable, as we'll see. So
Yes.
here's the other thing. He recorded his own house meetings. Now I don't know at what point they knew he was at some point in this saga they
Man,
know
now,
he records.
now
But
that's
I don't know if
crazy.
they knew from the start. So one of the clips you hear is
We know we have these recordings. They're out there.
I'm gonna tell you, and this is all that I'm gonna tell you the documentary, and you should watch it with, I'm not gonna say the name with your person, but I will say it's one of those things, just like Midsommar. It's great. It's a really good documentary, and you see it once, and you never see it again. Um, that's it, because it was as much as I could take, and I knew the story.
Yeah, I watched Skinamarink last week, and
I heard that's wild.
it's a lot like that. It's it's a lot like this. It's a slow, quiet horror unfolding before you, and you really just aren't sure how to approach something this fucking weird.
Well, I don't know if it's going to happen. There were rumors they're actually going to do a Hollywood remake of this, and I don't know if they will, but all I'm going to say is this. Vincent D'Onofrio has to be Larry. That's the only thing I'll say. It has to be Vincent D'Onofrio. He would do it perfectly, because if he played Fisk, not only does he look like him a bit, he played Fisk and Daredevil, and there's some parallels to their persona. But anyway, so he becomes this authority figure. He's recording these meetings. One of the clips from the recording says, "Society is moving. You're in it. Lots of options." He then unveils a philosophy called Q for P, Quest for Potential.
I don't feel like that needed to be abbreviated.
Right, and also it's not like you're fucking Langston Hughes here.
And you don't really quest for potential. It's something you just have. You quest for the outcome of that potential.
Right. It's also not. Motherfucker, you're on a literature campus and you can't even get shit right. It's like, I mean, it's like these guys are studying fucking the nexus between Egypt and fucking Rome, and you're here not even using syntax properly, and making shit sound like a life insurance scam. So anyway.
Yeah, our Q for P has a 1.5% APR, so you're gonna really want that.
Yeah, it's a dumb name. It's also not like a grand, like I said, it's not that poetic. It's Quest for Potential just sounds fucking basic.
This is some shit that they sell you at the yearly company meeting where they're like, we figured we could buy you all off with pizza, and also a Quest for Potential here at Anal Fisting Tech Inc.
AFTI. Q4P AFTI. All right, so yeah, Larry's so let's get into the quest of potential. You have a personality.
There's always a bigger ball.
You're capable of being the chief ball.
Always a big fist.
There's the boss ball. There's the capo ball. There's the soldier ball. It's just like the mob structure of balls. So anyway, no, you're capable. You have this personality. You're capable of being your true self, your potential, and I'm gonna help you. What restrains you? What holds you back? That's what he says. Ask yourself, who am I? It's like, again, these are like
this is some Dianetic shit. This is like verging on some Dianetic shit. Yeah.
He says that he can take away the things that are in the way of you truly being who you are. He can offer you clarity. You have all these obstacles in the way, and only it's like a Trump rally. And I'll draw parallels to Trump later. There's many things about Larry that really remind me of Trump, and like you said, rural America being convinced. It's a funny story here it's not funny, but it's a story here that it happened in a very liberal area, but it still happens.
Yeah,
Where
no,
there's this
absolutely.
indoctrination based on this cult of personality that's pretty conservative. And so he's saying that only I can take away these obstacles that prevent you from being your true self.
Yeah.
Yet
Look, man,
he could not take away the obstacle of sleeping on the couch with his co-host.
And of course, I'm doing this by choice because I'm so magnanimous and have nothing better to do with my time.
Yes, yes.
If the past 10 years have taught us anything, it's that crypto proves that white guys are just as susceptible to MLMs as everybody else.
As anybody else on
You
planet.
know, and that's what's about to happen here, I think.
And I wrote, you met this guy a week ago. He made you a pot roast, and you believe he can heal you. It's like there's a lot of jumps happening here.
Yeah.
But he said, as a 19-year-old who's confused about things, it's attractive seeing answers. Santos is saying, his friend Isabella, who I did meet, is effectively a social recluse. She hid a lot. She comes from Texas. She didn't know many people. And then Larry took her under his wing, and Larry would be in Isabella's room for many hours, overnight including, for bonding.
That's a fake word.
I know it is. She was going through something really intense, something about her family. It was private, and we just thought he was helping her. So this is from Isabella's mom, Cindy, who's in Texas during all of this. Isabella has been talking up to Larry through Christmas break. She's been talking him up. She's been making him seem like a decent guy.
Uh-huh.
Cindy thinks he's a good man. Come Christmas break, guess what happens? First rule of cults.
Doesn't come home.
And what is the expressed reasoning, do you think?
I'm going to say no money.
Well, I'm saying the first rule of cults is to separate you from anybody.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, 110%.
So Larry, so Isabella picks up the phone. She says she's not going for Christmas, and then she says Larry will explain. And the second that happened, we are like, all right, this is already gone.
No, yeah.
So Larry is talking about that. The recording here is it's tough to listen to, but he literally says, I don't know if you knew this, but she was molested when she was younger. So who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And you're getting on the phone telling someone's mom that their daughter told you something. It's not like you're a therapist.
No.
Told you something that they did not tell you when she was younger. And I'm not saying abuse doesn't happen, that doesn't get told. And sometimes, honestly, it's entirely possible that certain things happen that she didn't reveal to her mom. But what psychopath gets on the phone during Christmas break and says that? It's like you do that as a caring adult to another caring adult. You don't fucking say, so here's why she's not going to Christmas break. It's like,
okay. No, that's insane.
Yeah. She says that, she's from, it actually wasn't I think it's a suburban area of San Antonio. It's not quite like Bumblefoot, but it's not the San Antonio proper. But Larry says, if she goes to San Antonio, she's going to kill herself. If she goes, what do you do then?
Well, that's an enormous escalation of...
Right.
Yeah, okay.
If she goes home, she will kill herself. That's what he's saying.
So I mean, what I want to hear at this point is that mom's on her way up to go get her.
So what I wrote is, bruh, what? And then, so he acts like he's going to care and get her help. And then her mom says, well, he was very convincing on the phone. Again, I say he's just a guy. He's not fucking Thor. He's a dude.
I mean,
he's a dude from Bay Ridge. That's it.
It's not good. I mean, yeah. To hear any of that news and not want to immediately be with your
She
own,
did.
like it
She
really
said
doesn't.
She did want to, but you know.
Well, no, that doesn't explain anything.
But she didn't. She didn't go. She said she wanted to see her, obviously, and thought. I think she did say she thought about it, but she decided not to. She said he was convincing. That
Yeah,
he
I
was
don't.
gonna get
I
her.
don't. I mean, yeah,
That he was
I
gonna
don't
get
get it
her
as
help.
much as I don't get it as much as you. So there you go. I don't. That's the most insane fucking thing I've ever heard.
I don't get it either.
No, yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he's very convincing, and he goes on to say that she was she was a terrible mother back when she raised her. Again,
Oh.
he made you pot roast a week ago. This is not a guy you know well, and he's just rolling up and saying that you were a terrible mother, you were negligent. But then he
But I
says,
gotta say, if my mom heard this shit, she would beat both our asses.
"Fuck is this? Who calls somebody's parent and says these
By the way,
things?"
also, you don't know me, but just you suck. You know. Like,
But then he said,
cool.
but he does one of these negging comments where he's like, "But you don't have to be anymore." He says, "You were then. I bet you're not now. You don't. So because you're not now, you know she can't come here because she'll hurt herself." So he does this weird.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Shit.
Okay. So
He's a manipulator.
He's appealing to their uh to their emotions.
So now, and the other thing is, like, this mother admits that she made mistakes as a child. She had drug problems, so she's already
Sure, okay.
damaged. So he's Larry. Again, like any good, this isn't fucking. This is not like an AP manipulation. This is manipulation 101. All right.
Yeah.
If you know someone has an insecurity, you exploit it. And that's all Larry's doing. He's not a fucking savant here like people are making him out to be. He just said, "Oh, she had a drug problem when she was young. I will exploit that."
Yeah, he's not playing 4D chess.
No.
He's taking advantage of vulnerable people.
Right. Like, it's the difference between Donald Trump and Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon has a high intelligence to be a horrible person. That's why he's scary. Donald Trump does not. This is like the difference here. Not everyone's an evil genius. Like, some people are just manipulators. That's it.
Yep.
And that's all Larry is. But now Isabella doesn't even want to talk to her family. At all. That's it. That's the last time they speak for a long time.
Christ.
So Isabella's now but following this, Isabella, according to Santos, has a change in. She's now vibrant. She now has more energy. So she thinks this person fixed her, when really he gave her all these false. He gave her a false foundation to make a false sense of progress on. Oh, I wrote a story. Oh, right. There's another funny story when this is a side, but all I know is somebody got fucking railed. It's the morning that Dee and I went to Sarah Lawrence. Like, that was the first time
Jesus
that
Christ.
I heard like that, and then the two individuals involved just like said hi, and it was like, I'm not.
Afterwards, they just passed you, and they're like, "Hey."
Like, "Hey, what's up? What's your name? Like, what's your names?" And because we're sleeping on the couch, and this is happening, in fact, the more I think about it, I think Dee slept on the infamous couch.
Oh my
ended
God.
up being the couch.
That's not comforting.
No, I know. But I just found it funny. It's like, oh, this is why I didn't go away for college and have roommates, because this should not be normalized. I don't want to meet the people. I don't want to live in Pornhub. Like, I didn't choose this. All right.
So now I assume we got 8 people living in the dorm normally. He's in this room with Isabella.
So there are floors. To be fair, there are floors.
When I was living in an 8-person situation, it was 2 people to a room, and there were 4 rooms.
Yeah, it was like that.
Okay, so
Isabella.
So, but Isabella is also rooming with someone else.
No, now it's Larry and Isabella in a room most of the time. I think they sleep together.
Yes, I understand that, but I'm trying to nuke out if they're doing this next to someone who is trying to get
To my
sleep.
just trying to nuke. So, um, I don't. To my knowledge, they were there together alone, and someone else, I guess, moved. I don't know, or maybe Isabella had her own room because of something. Anyway, so so now Santos wants to talk to Larry because Larry knows what it's like to be from a working class Dominican family in the Bronx. I mean, that is if that's not Larry, what is?
Of course.
Um, so uh, Larry hears that Santos's mom worked 7 days a week. I mean, my mom worked 7 days. A lot of our parents did, and he said that because she worked all the time, and because of the infidelity of the father, um, Santos had some confusions about relationships and such. And Larry said, you wish you were closer to your parents. Like, wow, no one thought that one before.
Yeah,
Um,
crazy, dude. Wild thought.
and he said that because, so Santos had no one to talk to, he didn't feel like the therapist was working. And he said that, the internal conflict of how your father was cheating and whether or not that's normal, not feeling like you're getting the approval of your parents, it led to some uncertainty about things
Mhm.
in life. Wow. I mean, are you telling me that family dynamics can lead to uncertainty, Larry?
Yeah, that's almost like the reason why so much shit is fucked up these days.
Also, he tapes it. I don't get it. This is the person being vulnerable with it. He's taping all of this shit. So anyway, and later we find out
Some
that
some some
yeah,
motherfuckers are just exhausting.
and anyway, so now Larry Santos kind of feels like Larry's taking a strong male figure that he feels his father didn't always provide.
Okay.
Yeah, he acts like he cares. He says that Santos feels like he hit the nail on the head. I felt like he gave him some Dwayne Reed store brand advice, but maybe sometimes it's not always what's said, but how it's said in the vehicle, who it's said from. And maybe seeing it from a father figure that Santos didn't always feel like he had ended up having more of an impact. And then coming from a therapist that you have to pay for, that you have to find, and all of those things. Also, it's his girlfriend's father, and that's someone who you want to have
Of
a level
course,
of.
of course. Trust there
That's
is natural. Why not?
yeah,
You want things to go well here, you know?
right. So yeah, he's saying they didn't. Yeah, he's saying they didn't pay enough attention, and then Larry says you wanna hear a nuke? You wanna hear him drop a nuke? I mean, this is
Oh,
I
any day
don't.
of the week,
This
dude.
is this is yeah, this is reforming brain cells here. Larry says focus on the pleasant and avoid the unpleasant. I mean,
Wow.
holy Jesus, man.
Yeah, just avoid all the things that cause you any pain in life. Don't solve those.
So yeah, um, he said Santos. Others people were saying after speaking with Larry, Santos also changed. His posture changed. His vibe changed. He got more confident. I think part of it is just you have this guy that is so positioning himself as this important person who believes in you.
And I mean, it really
Sometimes
speaks to
that's it.
the power of the mind a little bit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's convinced this person. Now, I obviously don't know anything about Isabella, so I obviously don't know if she was. Do we have information about whether or not she was molested or whether or not Larry planted that in
That
her?
I don't know. There are other situations with other people that we get into what was perhaps planted and what wasn't. But with
And
her,
this
no.
is what I mean to say here is obviously it could have happened, and that's a thing that needs to be dealt with, right?
Of course.
Um, but whether it did happen or not, this person had a repressed memory, right, or a memory planted in them
Mhm.
that they believe, right, regardless of whether or not it's true, and was told things that managed to spin it. Effectively, this has been spun into a mood booster somehow, right? Like something that awful
Right.
has been turned into like, but you can solve it by believing in yourself, and so, like this new,
Well,
wildly different perspective that these kids have never heard before is enormous for them, right? And their brain is like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. This is great, the new best day of my life, and they just go off into the fucking sunset.
right. I mean, but
It's
that's cult.
crazy.
That's cult 101. You see cult people act frequently. People look happy in the beginning of cults because they feel like they found Jesus. Even
Yeah,
if it's not Jesus, something is Jesus.
yeah.
The way this person talks is like they find someone that gives them the answers they've been looking for, and that's an exciting feeling if you believe that shit.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this person said like you
It's
mentioned something that
I
was
mean
terrible.
it's just crazy. I mean it's just it to the roller the roller coaster of thoughts happening there. It's like holy shit.
Right.
If you told me all that in an afternoon, I'd be a a crumpled mass in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's how they trained to go to Kosovo. You had to be a crumple mass in the corner before
Jesus
you
fucking
really
Christ.
were able to fight as fucking the Balkans too. I don't know. Anyway, so um, so yeah, it's they're getting this boost. Claudia, who lives there, he's helping Claudia, who's like feeling broken inside as an artist, and Larry said you're smoking too much weed, and you're probably a schizophrenic. And he said the weed is exacerbating the schizophrenia, which is a WebMD thing you can find. It's not, but he's diagnosing her just because Larry's also a psychiatrist too, you know.
He's
I mean,
psychotic.
he's psychotic, that's for sure. But yeah, he could do this. He was.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
probably
Fuck
what he
it.
did in the CIA too.
Fuck it. There's
All
no
right.
rules.
So, yeah, she was skeptical at first, though Claudia. She was skeptical of Larry at first, but it went from,
But being
what is
told I have schizophrenia, I mean, that'll win me over any day of the week.
yeah, but it went from, I don't really know about this guy to he's saving my life. And if you talk shit about Larry, obviously that's a problem. Now, the one person, and you predicted this one. Guess the one person who isn't buying
Got,
any of it.
gotta be Raven.
It's Raven.
Gotta be Raven. That's so
Raven.
Raven, dude.
Well, I
I
believe.
shouldn't make
Yeah.
that joke. That's
No.
way too easy.
Yeah, I know. Well, I believe I met once, and she seemed like a cool person.
Yo,
She said
let's just say bless up to Raven right now.
Raven was not buying an inch of it. The whole time she was like, "Nope, this is weird." And like you said, there's great power saying this is weird.
Never underestimate someone being like, no, that's real weird. Never.
She saw like the fucking 180 that all of her friends were doing with this one guy, one dude coming, just having all these changes and saying, yeah, that's weird. It's also weird they're always spending time alone together. Claudia and Isabella, also he's sleeping with the women, which is
I mean, that's some
interesting.
shit. I mean, a 45-year-old, 55-year-old guy coming in and sleeping with like a
In the
19-year-old.
same bed as a co-ed, yeah.
There's just some shit. That's some shit. I get it. Yeah, all right. People on Twitter are like, but it's legal, and it's like, fucking, it feels like it shouldn't be.
Well, I mean, it's not just it being legal or not. It's also the conditions. Larry, this wasn't like a organic relationship. This
No.
is someone basically saying, "I have power over you.
Barging in,
I
I'm
have
sleeping
the
on the couch.
answers."
And by the way,
I'm
here's my
barging in.
dick.
This wasn't like some romantic meet on a fucking sailboat in Greece. This is like the exact polar opposite of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Raven's boyfriend Dan is having struggles too, and we know who comes to save him.
Wow. So
Yeah.
Raven's out here. She lost her own boyfriend to this guy?
She's about to.
Holy shit!
So she already didn't like him before all this.
Like this is if there is a Hollywood interpretation of this movie, it's now a horror film and Raven is the main character.
Yeah, that would be great. But so Dan thinks so Dan does have some questions about his own sexuality while he's in the relationship with Raven, which is a normal thing to have. Questions about your sexuality. But Larry, being the absolute, spectrum of genius that he is, says to Dan, "You're not gay." And Dan says,
It's a wrap. It's done.
"It's a wrap."
It's
Dan
done.
says, "That was it." Dan said, "That gave me great confidence."
That really cleared it all up for me.
Yeah, Santos suggested Dan speak with Larry. Larry told him he's not gay, and Stan is saying, he met with Larry for coffee, and when he met with Larry for coffee, the first thing Larry said is, "Here's the best way to have coffee." It's like, I would already hate this person. If you're telling me even
if that happened to me, and I'd sit down and have a guy tell me that, and I'd be like, "Are we sure I'm not gay?"
he's telling him how to have coffee. He can't even have a fucking coffee. This is like, he can't even do his coffee right.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So,
Jesus fucking Christ.
So I said, made him feel amazing, acted like, like this is why I like therapists over life coaches. Because to me, who the fuck are you to coach someone's life?
First of all, a therapist has a fucking degree.
Yes, and like life coach is like, no one can coach a life.
They had to go learn shit is what I'm saying. A life coach is someone who managed to live this long.
And I mean, and again, it's like, yeah, because I know what someone in fucking Malaysia is going through right now. So I can be their life. No, you need to. Therapists also have specialties. They know their weaknesses, if they're any good, So anyway, so after coffee,
there's a lot of bad therapists out there, but there's even fewer good life coaches.
I don't think you can be I think it's an oxymoron. You cannot coach an entire life. You can coach a baseball game.
I think there are people out there who could use it. Honestly, I do. But good luck finding someone who can do it successfully, and they need therapy too.
They need therapy. I don't think there's. Anyway, so after being told how to have coffee with Larry, that he's not gay, Larry also says you got to break up with Raven now. So you're not gay, but the person you're not being gay with, you should break up.
But that one shred of heterosexuality tethering you to.
So Larry, so Dan,
tying you back to liking women. Just sever that for no good reason. Go ahead.
So he right after coffee with Larry, he calls Raven. Raven says, "I was a little upset." She says, like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then she says something that she thinks is wrong, but I think's hilarious. She says, "Are you fucking Larry now?" And like, it's a reasonable question. He's having sex with other people. So yes.
Well, what was the answer to that question?
I don't even know if there was an answer. I'm guessing it was no. I don't know.
I hope it was no. Jesus Christ.
So this is where I had to pause, because it's like he makes this man break up with his girl while being like, what? He motherfucker has a Cisco Systems of the gaydar. I mean, I'm just like, like this is also what he has.
He's got that 300 megabytes down gaydar.
He like, in addition, like this is also what he needed to train for fucking war. I mean, like, what?
You wouldn't believe we needed so much gaydar in Kosovo. Really told us where, got us through,
So then, after Larry declares he's not gay, tells him how to have his fucking latte, he calls Raven, breaks up with her. There's a limo waiting for them.
Excuse me?
And in the limo is most of the rest of the people in the dorm. And
I
think I
mean, still fucking weird, but I was afraid it was just for the two of them. Be like, wow, he was definitely having sex with Larry.
And again, it's like, why are you sleeping on the couch? You could just have a
Yeah.
limo pull up to bring you. I mean, it's so. Uh, anyway, so all these other motherfuckers. I guess Larry. I didn't know if I understood this part, but I think that Larry told everyone else, or there was some lead up to that this was going to happen. That there was going to be this meeting with Dan, and that Dan was going to have this breakup. So this is like the post game analysis or something.
Oh wow! So this is a
I
celebration of of
of Dan
their
being a
roommate.
heterosexual of their roommate being broken up. So Raven's already on her last fucking straw with these motherfuckers. But the fact that for a second I thought,
They're
and
all
Raven's in the
celebrating out without her in a limo to celebrate her getting broken up with.
and it'd be crazy if I was like, is she in the limo too? That's fucking insane. But she wasn't.
Please tell me no. Oh, thank God.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't.
I'm rooting for Raven so hard right now.
Yeah. So now we learn about Dan's
And
parents.
Santos.
Yes. So now we're learning about Dan's parents, Amy and Charles. They grew up in Lebanon, New Jersey. So there's a place in New Jersey that's named after a country in the Middle East, just like there's a Palestine in Ohio, which we learned the other day. And East Palestine. Yeah.
Really implies the existence of a Northwest and South Palestine.
It sure as shit does. But anyway, so Dan seems enamored by Larry. The word that one of them used was enthralled by Larry.
Wrong.
Again, maybe a movie, a good thriller, not a human being. But anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, grown-ass man living with my son in a college. I'm down. Maybe he can help my son. He's enthralled. He told Dan's parents that he could stay with him in New York City in his apartment, which again, he had all along. And instead of going home to New Jersey, and his parents are like, "Oh, that sounds nice." So, we're just rolling with it.
Dude, this is I of all the crazy things I'm hearing, it's the reaction of the parents that drives me fucking nuts.
I know. I can't. Didn't feel like there was any danger there. So, summer 2011.
When
15
I'm sorry, when
Yeah,
I
no, go
told
ahead.
my mom I was like 13 and I made
Yeah.
some friends with some upperclassmen, and I told her like, "Hey, I'm gonna go hang out with these folks." She was like, "Oh, I never heard of them." I'm like, "Yeah, they're upperclassmen. I just met them." She was like, "Oh, you're going to hang out with 17-year-olds? No, you're not doing that." And that was the end of that discussion. And I was like, "Mom," she was like, "No, you're not doing that." And then she went back to whatever she was doing. And I was like, "I just want to go." No, done.
No, but
That's it. That's the
we
whole.
got,
That's all.
but it
That's all
wasn't.
the discussion that needs to happen there.
But it wasn't Bernard Kerrig's former right-hand man, present enemy, Kosovo veteran Larry Ray. Maybe she would have said yes.
Do you think there's a chance that on the phone he went through the introduction with them, like that whole lead up, the entire thing, like, hey, just so you know, former Marine, fought in Kosovo, helped put a former NYPD commissioner in jail, and now I'm being hunted by him. How are you doing? I'm staying on your daughter's couch. Like as you could go as fast as you want through all that. And it's way too much information to take in.
Oh my god. So yeah, no red flags here. Only Eastern European flags. So we're up in we're in we're in a apartment in the Upper East Side.
Uh-huh.
You know, rent was probably even in 2011. It was probably only a cool $4,000 a month. So yeah, definitely need to sleep on a couch in Bronxville. Definitely.
Whatever. It's the Sigma grind set. You wouldn't get it.